So now that we have some kind of idea about how to make these lazy loading feature modules, let's try and actually create one, because I kind of want to start there and then we're going to expand the application from that. So I want to start out by having a good structure with modules and lazy loading, right? So that's where I want to start. Now you can again follow this guide yourself. I'm going to do it in this video, just follow this guide step by step, add a few comments to the commands, and hopefully you guys will understand most of what's going to happen right here. Now, first of all, you of course need to install the Angular CLI. Go and check out earlier videos if you want to figure out how to do that. I'll go and do the getting started guide to get to that point. This command right here is where we're going to start, and this command is pretty much just going to generate a new Angular project and call it customer app in this case. We're going to give it another name. First you need to decide where you want to put it, and in my case I want to place it inside my Angular folder. That's where all my Angular projects are. This terminal down here, I opened that in WebStorm. You can of course open any terminal, and then you can go into View, Tool Windows, and here's the terminal. So that's why I use WebStorm. The integrated terminal is great. Visual Studio Code, and also recommend that. I'm just into WebStorm. Sweet. So now I need to fire this command. I don't want to call my app this. I'm just going to call it module test app. Module test app, right? Because I want to do some testing in this later on as well. Now, the reason that we're putting -- routing is to actually get this routing module in the default setup. So you'll get the app component, CSS, and component file, TS file, and then you'll get the module and you'll get the routing. That's kind of the default setup. And then all of these configuration files, the index page, environments, all the stuff that we need to build a complete Angular application, right? So that's kind of this command right here, what that's going to do for us. I'm just going to let it run. Now the first question is if you want to use CSS, Sass, SCSS, less, or stylus. All of these are kind of like TypeScript is for JavaScript. It's ways to write more complex or easier code, depending on your view, that can then be converted from one of these guys, the 4 guys in the bottom, into CSS. So we are going to use SCSS. Just because we have some possibilities in some of the frameworks we're going to use later to quickly import what we want inside these SCSS file, and there's also some reusage that makes a lot of sense. So I'm just going to pick this one. You can also pick the plain old CSS if you want to. Now notice every place where we have some CSS, it's now SCSS instead, right? And then on compile time, the compiler will take all those files and convert them into CSS, because the browser doesn't know SCSS, the browsers only know CSS. So the installation is done, and I pretty much just open it inside WebStorm. So I have now my new project I just built. I can also in the terminal just try and go into that project, module test app. So there it is. There I have my actual project that I'm going to work with. So that was step 1. That was just creating the application. And now you can already see the structure right here. We have the routing module right here that takes care of the routes on its own. We have the app module that imports the routing module. Now it starts making sense, right? So the app module is the main module of our application, and it imports the routing module. And we also import the browser module because we want to do something with web pages, right? So that's why that is here. Now we export, we declare the app component because we have an app component right here that's going to launch our application later on, etc., etc. So hopefully now some of this makes sense to you, and as we'll continue, you'll see more modules popping up, and I'll try and explain each one of them. So that's it for this lesson. Now we are up and running with our new application, and we just need to start adding more modules. Have fun.